In the aftermath of the Alabama versus LSU game, I'm pretty sure there will be a ton of hot takes and fans upset about coordinators and anything else they can get upset about. But what I'm going to talk about is the fact that Alabama didn't play bad in this game. LSU just played very well. And if you watched the game, you saw it. I'll assume you saw LSU executed a good game plan and their players were highly motivated. They had talented players that made things very difficult for the Alabama offense. And in particular, though, I'm going to discuss the things that the LSU offense did from an execution standpoint from the fourth quarter on that were just phenomenal. And the Alabama defense failed to stop it, even though they played fairly well. So let's jump right into it. After Alabama went up 15-14 in the fourth quarter, and it was about 11 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, LSU started to make some plays that they basically had to be perfect in order for them to succeed. And here on this first play, you'll see what I'm talking about. As Eli Ricks is covering LSU wide receiver number 8, whose last name is Neighbors, I believe, and he's playing great man coverage, yet Daniels managed to hit his wide receiver with a high ball where only his receiver can get it down the field for a very big conversion on this first down on the other side of the field. The ball is very high and toward the sideline, yet still comfortably in play for his leaping wide receiver. And there is no way for Ricks to impact this ball at all, even though he is playing good coverage on the receiver. This is an example of when offensive execution simply trumps the defense no matter what. You tip the hat to the offense for this play. That drive ultimately ended with a field goal for LSU, which was important for sending the game to overtime because that allowed them to get 17. The next play you'll need to see is later in the fourth quarter, right below the 4-minute mark, where Alabama is leading 21-17, and Daniels is in the shotgun with the running back set to his right on the 3rd and 5 play, where they have to convert or Alabama will get the ball back and run more of the clock out. So in a sense here, we have Alabama in a position to close out this game and win it if they can get a third down stop. But then you'll see that Daniels was able to improvise here and make the difference with his legs on third down. Alabama is playing man coverage across the board here. And more specifically, it looks like cover 0, in which all of the DBs are in man coverage. And you have to leave the front 7 to handle the offensive line, quarterback, and running back by themselves, basically. And Alabama has 5 rushers on this play, including Shane Moody on the outside. And you probably noticed that the rush slanted to the left on this play, and number 98 also begins left as well, but I think he was supposed to loop back to the B gap between the left guard and the left tackle after Dallas Turner makes a stunt, because you stunt and then you loop around. That B gap is where Daniels scrapes after he scrambles, where he sees the man coverage on his receivers. So number 98 tries to make it back, but he is too slow, and Daniels scoots by for a first and much more. If Jayden Daniels was any slower or another quarterback, number 98 would have caught him. But Daniels' unique talent as an athlete here is a disadvantage for this type of play. 98 didn't play his gap assignment correctly here, and he gave Daniels an out. If he plays this, Daniels is forced to stay in the pocket and make a throw with the rush coming. Now, it's possible that Jayden Daniels could have made a perfect or great, nearly perfect passing play to convert. But instead, we get a missed assignment, which makes this an easier conversion. And so this is the last time you'll see a missed assignment being a reason. So speaking of greatly executed passing plays, as a result, LSU continues their drive, and they find themselves in the red zone with 1 minute 55 seconds left in the game on this play. Daniels is in the shotgun with the running back set to his right and a 4 wide receiver set. Alabama stands with 5 rushers on the play, and Moody is playing a spy, so the pressure is closing in on Daniels pretty fast, and he has to make a throw against man coverage going into the end zone here. He aims for his tight end being covered by Alabama's best safety, Jordan Battle, on a corner route toward the back left pylon of the end zone. Jayden Daniels makes a throw here under pressure that couldn't be executed any better outside of being perfect, considering these circumstances. The ball isn't perfect, as it should be toward the back pylon a bit more so as to keep it completely out of range of the safety, but the height of the throw and the general direction was more than enough to keep this ball away from the DBs. Jordan Battle was trailing, so Jordan Battle was trailing the tight end, so he couldn't position himself to set his feet and jump for the ball. And he did the best he could, which was to attack the ball in the tight end's hands, but the tight end had a great grip on the ball. And the execution here was very good, and the defense played their assignment very well here. The only thing you can do is tip your hat to Tennessee on this play. And you can't be mad about the outcome because everybody did what they were supposed to do. And I just realized I said Tennessee, but I meant to say LSU. Now let's get into a play that I believe was actually perfectly executed. So in overtime, after Alabama score, LSU gets the ball, and now it's their first play. And this play I truly believe was near perfect, and the execution based on the blocks from the offensive line and the decision by Jayden Daniels and even the blocks by the wide receivers down the field, everything came together to make a well-executed play. And Alabama didn't play the wrong defense on this play. The offense simply executed at such a high level that the defense didn't match it. LSU runs a simple read option play with the running back taking the dive up the middle or the quarterback pulling the ball out and running to the outside. Simple quarterback option. On this play, the outside defender or the edge defender here, that's the one that's being read by the quarterback. And on this particular play, that is Dallas Turner, number 15. And you see Dallas Turner see the give to the running back up the middle, and he creeps toward it a little bit just to make the quarterback hesitate on giving that ball. And then when Jayden Daniels pulls it out to run, Dallas Turner begins to chase him. Now, this is where athletes at quarterback is very helpful, because normally Dallas Turner will catch 99% of quarterbacks who try to run away from him. And as you see, he was pretty close to Jayden Daniels here. But Jayden Daniels is fast enough to avoid him to the edge. So much so that Dallas Turner has to dive for Daniels because he knows he won't be able to stop him and wrap him up from getting to the edge. And also notice how the running back begins to run up the field. So keep that in mind because he's looking to block after the fake. Now, direct your attention to the wide receivers who were blocking Eli Ricks, and then look at the tight end blocking the linebacker. The running back then comes up to block Brian Branch, which is Alabama's nickelback dimeback, who's coming up from the safety position or near it to stop Daniels. And so what you see is that there are three fantastic blocks that spring Jayden Daniels, who is quite athletic, to a nice 25-yard run for a touchdown. The execution here was fantastic. It was phenomenal. And as a pure football fan, this was cool to see because you don't typically see plays executed this well all the time, especially in overtime, because the players are tired and they've been trying to execute all game long. And I'll also highlight how the play design was really helpful in giving Jayden Daniels a lot of freedom toward the right side of the line of scrimmage, because if you notice at the beginning, wide receiver number 80 goes in motion toward the left side of the line of scrimmage, and he runs that way. And he continues to run that way so that the defense naturally has to shift their leverage to that side of the field in order to make sure they don't get outflanked in case it is a sweep play or an option to that side. And this is the beginning of what leaves that right side just a little bit more room for Daniels to run for a lot of yards and ultimately the touchdown. Now, to follow up that perfectly executed read option play with a perfectly executed two-point conversion play is just simply phenomenal. You have to give LSU all the credit in the world for these two play calls, back to back, being executed at such a high level in overtime. And not just the offensive execution, but the fact that they executed so well when Alabama played the right defense and didn't do their assignment wrong. That's the part that most fans don't realize. Alabama didn't mess up or didn't do the right thing. LSU literally executed at such a high level with players at just the right position that allowed for them to take advantage of certain talent. On this two-point conversion, LSU, right before the snap, has their tight end do a little motion inside and back to the outside to check to see if Alabama is going to play their man defense here / their pattern match concepts on the outside, because they want to create a conflict with how the safety has to move to his assignment. Jordan Battle is the safety who is responsible for the tight end and man coverage here. But you also see two wide receivers in a stack formation, so they took some lessons from Tennessee, to the right corner hash, and two cornerbacks on top of them. So LSU was going to run some routes that causes those wide receivers to create a bit of a jumble near the goal line, while also having the tight end run directly to the flat, meaning that Jordan Battle has to run underneath that jumble of routes or go over the top of those routes so that he can stay on top of the tight end. Keep this in mind. If Jordan Battle goes underneath, he's automatically at a disadvantage because all Jayden Daniels has to do is throw high into the outside, and the tight end gets an easy jump ball for a touchdown potentially. But also, by going over the top, it puts Jordan Battle in a right position to stop that high jump ball from happening. But it also means that the tight end has more room to work the flat. So Daniels can throw a ball directly to him and allow him to turn upfield if the pass is delivered in a decent manner. And lo and behold, that's exactly what Jayden Daniels did. So Brian Kelly and the offensive coordinator, they knew that they can get this type of conflict from the Alabama defense, and they knew how to execute well if they got it. And if they didn't execute this the right way, this is not a touchdown. This is not a 2-point conversion, and Alabama wins. Alabama played a good defense here because by playing man coverage, they can dedicate everyone else to stopping the run. And that would give LSU an easy touchdown if Alabama didn't protect the middle of their defense, and LSU would just run a running play instead. So Alabama basically played cover zero so that they can cover the wide receivers, but also provide a good run coverage. Alabama basically challenged LSU to make the right throw with the perfect execution to win the game. And honestly, that's exactly what LSU did. And if you're an Alabama fan, you can't get mad about that outcome if LSU just did it the right way. And honestly, I have to applaud them for the guts to make that call, but also to execute 2 plays at such a high level back-to-back in overtime. Honestly, it was fun to see such a high-level game and have fun reviewing it. And I want to know, what do you all think about this? Do you agree? Are you just upset because you're a fan? Like, what's going on? So if you enjoyed this video, check out the video on the left side to see the video that the YouTube algorithm suggests that you watch on my channel. And if you want to see the last video that I made, check out the video on the right side. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.